Both Russia and Syria on Tuesday slammed U.S. President Donald Trump's decision to reimpose unilateral sanctions on Iran. A Syrian foreign ministry official sharply condemned the decision, calling it illegal and driven by arrogance, while Russia's foreign ministry said, "We are deeply disappointed by the U.S. decision." The U.S. reimposed a wave of tough, unilateral sanctions against Iran on Tuesday, bringing back into effect harsh penalties lifted by the 2015 nuclear deal from which Washington withdrew earlier this year. The first of two rounds of U.S. sanctions kicked in at 12:01 a.m. 0431 GMT Tuesday, targeting Iran's access to U.S. banknotes and key industries, including cars and carpets. Damascus said it stood in full solidarity with Iran in facing the hostile policies of the U.S. administration, according to the Syrian foreign ministry official. Iran's leadership, government, and people will triumph over all the ramifications of these steps, the official added. Russia, which is among the signatories to the 2015 accord, is currently trying to save the deal. The foreign ministry said it will do everything necessary to save the historic deal and protect its shared economic interests with Tehran. This is a clear example of Washington violating UN Resolution 2231 on the Iran deal and international law, the statement said. Moscow said the multi-party nuclear agreement Trump abandoned in May has shown its effectiveness. It called on the international community not to allow such significant achievements in multilateral diplomacy to be sacrificed in the name of American aspirations to settle political scores with Iran. As long-term experience has shown, it will not be possible to gain concessions from Iran using pressure, the statement said. Trump's contempt for the nuclear deal dates back to his time as presidential candidate, and on May 8, he made good on a pledge to pull America out of the international agreement. Iranians are already seeing the effects of the sanctions, with Iran's real currency losing around half its value since Trump announced the U.S. would withdraw from the nuclear accord. Trump's supporters in the Middle East U.S. renewal of tough, unilateral sanctions against Iran on Tuesday, as well as the decision to withdraw from the nuclear deal in May, have been met with support by American allies Israel, Saudi Arabia and the UAE, United Arab Emirates. The three countries are all rivals to Iran, seeing the Islamic Republic's involvement in Syria, Iraq, Lebanon and Yemen as a threat to regional stability, thus sharing the U.S. concern. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, a longtime opponent of the 2015 nuclear deal, hailed Trump's decision to withdraw from the deal and to reimpose sanctions on Iran. Israel is in talks with Russia to push back Iranian forces in Syria from its border, seeing their presence as a threat to its national security. Saudi Arabia, which is fighting a war against Iranian-sponsored Houthi rebels in Yemen, also welcomes the new U.S. policy on Iran set out by the Trump administration. The kingdom supports and welcomes the steps announced by the U.S. president towards withdrawing from the nuclear deal and reinstating economic sanctions against Iran, Saudi Arabia's foreign ministry said following Trump's announcement in May. Saudi Arabia accused Iran of taking advantage of the revenue generated by the lifting of the sanctions to destabilize the region, according to the foreign ministry said. The UAE and Bahrain also issued statements via their foreign ministries in support of Trump's decision. Another contentious issue between Iran and its regional rivals is the passage of oil in the Hormuz Strait, Persian Gulf, and the Bab al-Mandeb Strait leading to the Red Sea. Saudi Arabia, the biggest crude exporter in the world, announced last month that it had temporarily suspended oil shipments through the Bab al-Mandeb Strait after a Houthi missile attack on an Aramco vessel. Netanyahu later showed a sign of support of Saudi Arabia, warning Iran that if it tries to block the Bab el-Mandeb Strait it would face an international coalition that includes Israel. At the start of the week we witnessed a sharp clash with Iranian proxies who tried to obstruct international navigation in the straits at the entrance to the Red Sea. If Iran tries to block the Bab el-Mandeb, I am convinced that it will find itself facing a determined international coalition to prevent this. This coalition would also include the State of Israel and all its arms, Netanyahu said. The Hormuz Strait also became a center of attention last week after Iran and the U.S. traded barbs over the passage of oil. Trump called for an international embargo on Iran's oil export, leading the Islamic Republic to threaten with closing the Hormuz Strait. AFP contributed to this report.